back to Four Brown Chicks. On this segment of Did You Know? I wanted to talk about fear because I feel like fear gets in the way of a lot of things in our life because we put so much weight and pressure and we let fear scare us from doing a lot of things. And I think it's interesting that fear is a behavior that is literally learned, and the only thing that we're literally born to be afraid of is falling and loud noise. So scientists show that babies, the only thing that they're actually scared of is falling and loud noise. And then everything else that we learn is a learned behavior, adaptive behavior. So like if a baby was to see a spider, the only reason they're scared of spiders is because that's how they see adults react to it. They see we have this reaction that even like spiders, snakes, all the typical fears that we have, it's like a learned behavior. So I wonder why we like teach ourselves to be afraid of like a career change or changing a behavior that we used to always do, or just stepping outside our box when fear is just something that we've taught ourselves that we're scared of. So I just thought that it's interesting that those are literally the only two things that we're actually born to be afraid of when so many people are scared of so many different things, including myself.
I feel like it's more so just the fear of the unknown. So when we're children, we don't, like you kind of just use with the spider example, we don't know what a spider is. And to your point, I think sometimes we do learn from other people. And if they look like they're afraid of it, then we just associate that thing with as something scary. But I know for me personally, especially like you threw out the example, like switching jobs or anything like that, it's always been just the fear of the unknown, not being able to predict how something is going to end or how it will impact me, or what something could do to me. I remember I used to be afraid of deer too. But I think that's very interesting, and I definitely think it's true because I love spiders. So when we see spiders at my house, my daughter is like, "Oh, it's my friend, my spider friend." And I think that's because, to your point and the scientist point, when she her first introduction to spiders was something that wasn't a scary experience, me saying like, this is a living thing, like it won't hurt you, like look how small it is, it's probably afraid of you. But I don't know, like, do you guys have like fears that you always just been afraid of, or do you agree that it was like a learned type of experience?
I feel like both. I think fear is definitely a coping mechanism. It's something that we do to protect ourselves, which is human nature. Like you said, it's just certain things that we are not aware of, or, we just are not sure that what is going to be on the other side of this, what is change going to feel like, and it's uncomfortable, and that's what brings on fear. Sometimes it's just not even rational, like some of the things that I'm afraid of. I used to definitely be afraid of spiders for the longest. I would literally have an entire meltdown if I seen a spider and there wasn't somebody there to kill it for me. And now it's just like, for what? What was I doing all that for? Or like one of my irrational fears, which to me is really not, but like I am so afraid of heights. I don't like roller coasters. I don't like being at a high elevation. Like I'm just scared I'm going to fall. Like I don't like that feeling and it doesn't feel good. So we will avoid it at all costs.
I think it's really interesting that babies are born with those two fears. But for me in particular, I also think that's why when Kennedy was like a baby and like she would fall or like she would hurt herself and it would be something so minor. I would never be like that parent, like to jump over there, like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Cause like it was minor, but even like the bigger ones, it's like, I don't know if y'all ever noticed, but like babies will look at you first, like, am I cool? And if you like react like, oh my gosh, it's a meltdown, then they're gonna think it's a meltdown. But if you're just like, yep, you're good, we're just gonna get you a little band-aid. I feel like kids are like, oh, okay, I'm good. And I think that's a gift and a curse because I feel like now I also have this daredevil kid who's like, I'll jump from the top of the from the top of the stairs. It's cool, nothing gonna happen. I'll just get up and brush it off, which I love that because I think that those kind of things are taught. Like it is taught, fear is taught. I can't think of anything I'm particularly afraid of. Or like bees. Like, why do we run around like actual maniacs when we see a bee? Like, it's so stupid. Like, you, and that bee not even thinking about you for real. And so I think it like goes to also like your reaction to that bee is what's going to make the bee sting you. Like the bee actually was not even thinking about you. So I do think that's interesting. And I feel like I'm going to be more, I feel like I'm going to look out for it more.
Yeah, I have a fear of snakes, but I know that mine was a learned, yeah, because one time when I was at camp, we was on the trail. I was walking backwards, minding my business, almost stepped on a snake. The snake was very big. I was very scared. And I'm just not about that life when it comes to snakes. Like, I will freak out. I can't even watch them on TV. My other fear is I've literally had the fear of being unsuccessful since I was like 6. Who even decided what success was that young? And even still now, I still feel like, dang, like, you scared of being unsuccessful, but like you create your own version of success. Like, what made you fear this thought of nothingness? Because you don't know, like, your version of successful is probably different from everybody else's. So what are you afraid of? So those are my fears that now that I'm looking back on it, I'm just like, well, I understand the snake one, but then like just the irrational fear of like, I think it comes back to what Shiny just said of just not knowing. So it's scary, like not knowing how things are going to turn out. It just scares me.
Yeah. And to piggyback off of that, like outside of the fear of the unknown, I also have a major fear of failure. But I also feel like that's a life one that society just kind of projects on to people. So I'm curious. I'm definitely, like Jazz said, I'm going to be a lot more like cognizant and mindful of like when I do feel that fear, to really ask myself like, okay, is this even really a valid fear, or am I just stressing myself out for nothing?
Like, what you scared of?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And that's another reason why I wanted to bring it up, because I feel like this year was technically considered scary for a lot of people because we don't know what's going on. We still don't know what's going on. But I do want us to just observe our fears and look back on them and try to overcome as many as we can, because although like I feel like most people's fears are irrational or something that they created. And as long as you just take the time to like try to overcome them, you can eliminate them.
And just not allowing your fear to hold you back from doing anything. There's like this picture I have in my living room. It says, be scared and do it anyway. I like just use that mantra all the time because you don't know what you could be or who you could be if you constantly talk yourself out of things, sabotage yourself from having a great life just because you're scared of it. And a lot of times for me, I feel like fear is a good sign actually. Like, oh, I'm getting this bubbling of emotions for something. It's almost excitement or nervousness. Like, it's a great thing to motivate you, So be scared and do it anyways.
That's right. Well, like Shay said, be scared, but do it anyways. And please join us next time on our next segment of Four Brown Chicks. Bye.